We are now going back down to the big stage, the one that could hold an audience of 1,700 people downstairs here at this ÖVB Arena in Bremen, where my colleague Uli Beckhoff is about to announce the next group in the German Jazz Expo. Uli, are you ready down there?
Yes, I am.
So take it away. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Götz. The next band is led by a drummer. It's a setup without piano, a quartet with vocals, trumpet, drums and bass. And the interesting thing, this band, is that the drummer has chosen music from the Renaissance, as you say in English, with its clarity and transparency into modern times. And this is really a kind of new thing. I never heard that music from the Renaissance into modern times with this instrumentation. And please welcome, I say normally to the live audience, so I say it to you out there, the band Tilo Weber Quartet for Fauns. Enjoy this interesting music.
Thank you very much. Vielen Dank. I just wanted to introduce our marvelous vocalist, but there she left. I will nevertheless introduce her. It's Almut Kühne on vocals. Yeah. I think she deserves a big applause because she just got the music 1 week ago. And Claudio Puntin, the clarinet player in this band, he was supposed to be here and couldn't do it. So Almut is doing an amazing job, I think. Next to her, we have the one and only, I wanted to say Robert, no, Richard Koch on trumpet. And we have, of course, Mr. James Banner on the double bass. We are Tilo Weber and Fauns. We just played a tune I composed called Here Comes Everybody. First tune was a tune by Gesualdo, I arranged. Then we played a tune by Ockeghem, O Rosabella. Now we continue with the Gregorian choral I arranged for this band. And we close the set with the very famous Missa Pape by Palestrina. Thank you.
Tilo Weber's Four Fauns, live here in Bremen. Their Faun Renaissance album was recently released here in Germany and probably worldwide. Tilo Weber is a drummer with an exquisite taste in clothes, as you can see in his marvelous suit there. Great glasses too, just a style. And as some of you may have noticed, Claudio Puntin really changed into Almut Kühne now, the wonderful Almut Kühne. I'm so happy to see her again here. That was completely unexpected. I've known Almut for a couple of years as sort of a resident vocal artist of the Festival Jazz in the City in Salzburg that I also work for. And it's great to see and hear her here in this Baroque or Renaissance context here. Of course, Koch on trumpet there, also leading his own ensemble, very successfully based in Berlin, as is Tilo Weber, I believe, and David Banner on bass. What a group, what a sound. Nothing like that George Gruntz album, I think, was it Jazz Goes Baroque? I like that, it's nice, but this is a totally different thing. We'll get to talk to Tilo Weber in a minute here. You can see I'm all calm now. I'm totally, this music put me in this kind of state, and I guess maybe it did that for you too. It has a very meditative vibe, and of course that last song by Palestrina, the savior of church music, Missa Pape. Well, it's church music. It's made for reflection. It's made for feeling at ease, at home, and at one with the universe and whatever is out there looking upon us, or maybe not. Who knows? I'm really looking forward to having Tilo Weber up here with me in a little while. I want to find out about this faun thing. I mean, if you ask me, a faun is this half man, half goat, mythical being playing the flute. And in a lot of the pictures that I remember of fauns, they're constantly chasing women and drinking. No, that's the song. But the first part, yes, I think fauns, also called nuck and whatnot, and they always have something up their sleeve and their flute, and are kindly looking towards the other sex. So maybe that faun renaissance has something to do with that, maybe not at all. Who knows? We'll find out from the man himself in a little bit, I'm sure. And what I want to know as well is where you got that suit, of course. But hey, I mean, that's probably not as important. After that, we have a couple more live gigs here. It's a quick changeover to the true Harry Nulls, which is a combination of two bands. They're here also as part of the German Jazz Expo. The now trio Nefertiti Quartet, Theo Cicaldi, who will be here with a pre-recorded thing, and Synesthetic 4, and Tobias Meinert. And there is the man himself, the main faun, Tilo Weber.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.
And I can't ignore the elephant in the room. That's a great suit.
Thank you.
That's really, and you made good use of it too.
Yeah?
Yeah, it fits you really well.
Thank you.
I mean, I wonder if people 500 years ago would have, what they would have done to get a suit like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
You have to probably get the mic.
I have to do this, yeah, so, sure.
But I was trying to make
I'm
good.
so relaxed. Okay, great.
So am I. I had to admit that usually I'm, we're in front of a camera. Here's the audience out there. Yeah. It's the digital jazzahead, blah blah blah. But listening to this music put me really into a very meditative state.
Yeah, that's we're aiming for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you've reached your aim with me. Certainly.
Great. That's nice to hear.
I was pleasantly surprised to see and hear Almut Kühne there.
Me too.
So were you?
It's amazing that yeah. I mean, she got the music 1 week ago. Claudio couldn't be here. He's playing on the record. It just came out. It's very, very fresh, and we just played 3 release concerts. And he couldn't be here, and I called Almut and said, Almut, you have to help us. And of course, she's an amazing musician, amazing vocalist, and I think she brought a new and fresh sound to it, and it's not just she's not subbing for Claudio. She's bringing her vibe to it, and I think that's makes it maybe even more meditative. Maybe.
And that's also where this music came from, right? I mean, these melodies were sung.
It's vocal music. Yeah. Like all of that music is only written for voices. Basically, also that it's that you hear it in churches. So with a long reverb, like big halls like we're playing today. So kind of in a weird way back to the roots. Yeah. Big stage, vocal. All of a sudden, it's all there.
Did you grow up in the church?
No. I just love this music, I have to say. Yeah, I get these questions a lot of times, like why is a drummer taking this kind of music? And I'm always thinking, I don't know. I just like it a lot.
How did you get in contact with it? I mean, it's not that you're sitting on the subway in Berlin and some street musician is playing Couperin.
If I remembered right, probably I was not a really good student when I studied music, but I had some theory classes and some inspiring teachers, and they were playing this kind of music. We were analyzing it, and we had to write chorals and all that stuff. And at that time I thought it's boring and I didn't really get the point. But that music really had a huge impact on me because it sounded from such a far distance into our world we're living today, and it's still so modern. I mean, modern is a weird word, but it's music which is incredibly up to date. I think there's an essence in the music which will probably never vanish, and I immediately felt that. And that happens not with every music. I mean, I would say there's music today which doesn't have this essence, and this music still has this, and that's incredible.
Yeah. I was reminded of what you just said when, for a long time at one of the older museums in Berlin, there was a sign, all art is contemporary, or it was at some point in time.
Yeah.
And then, art is context, and the context you put this art in makes it, by still saving this spiritual energy, still makes it very now.
Totally. I don't, to be honest, I don't think about, we are playing old music. I think that's somehow not the way music works. It's just music, and
And I'm sure it isn't old to many people who listen to it, because I heard many of those pieces for the very first time.
Yeah.
And I did grow up in the church.
Yeah? Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Singing, more like Protestants. My Protestant almost sounded like prostitute or something. It's like, that's very Freudian there. But
it's fine. We're not at the Tagesschau right now. Yeah.
No, but I think it's the way you present it. It's relevant, and if somebody hears it and doesn't know that it's based on music from
Exactly. I just had this, like when I have interviews, people say like, I didn't know that this song was by Gesualdo or Ockeghem, and then I say, fine, that's totally fine. I just had this with Almut. We were talking about the tunes, and she said like, that's these not chord changes, this harmonies, they sound weird. Is this really Ockeghem? Said no. that I composed that little piece in the end. She said, okay, that's why. So it's, yeah, I did everything possible. I think other people wouldn't have done this to the music. I just said, I'm a drummer. I'm allowed to do that. I don't have the background. I'm not a violinist. I'm a drummer loving this music, so I'm going for it.
It's funny in so many ways because we're living in times where this is possible. You know, it's maybe 20, 30 years it wouldn't have been possible, and obviously there were people trying to. I just mentioned an album by George Gruntz, Jazz Goes Baroque, where he was also messing with his material, but then also, you know, obviously it had to swing. You were swinging.
We were swinging as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a thin line. I would say it's a thin line to take this kind of music and make it jazzy. I mean, that I think we're not aiming for that. We're not trying to make this music sound jazzy, if that makes sense in English. But of course, if I show this music to classical musicians or to pop musicians also, they say, yeah, that's jazz. Of course, that's jazz. I say like, okay, well, probably I don't get out of that jazz box. But it's also fine. I don't have to fight against that label jazz. But I think jazz, I think the great thing about jazz is everything is possible. You can do everything. We're trying to do that somehow.
I read actually in the bio that came with your album that the music was wholly composed, and even the parts that sound completely improvised is.
Yeah, for the album that's true.
Yeah.
For the concert today, that's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, today we improvised a lot because I also said to Almut, Richard, James, hey, let's just. Even though we only have like 30 minutes and there's some pressure, it's a big stage without audience, let's just make music, let's improvise. Yeah. But on the album, I just wanted to have like a very dense and through composed vibe to it. That when you're sitting at home, you really have the feeling that there's a whole structure to it. And if we improvise, it can get very long also. Then the album is like extremely long. It could have done that and just get rid of some tunes, but maybe it's just egoistic. I said like, I want to have these songs on the record, so let's keep the impros short for the album. And live, let's go crazy and do everything and play the songs differently also. I think we're still, also with Almut, now we're playing the material over and over again. It's developing, and that's where the fun comes. So developing this material, even though it's kind of strict, but not at the same time. Yeah.
I've got a newsletter from Rainer Hamann the other day who was praising you and said, of course you know him from Salzburg. He played with Clara Haberkamp and all that. So you're not as young as you look.
No, I don't know. I'm 31. With Clara, that concert he was talking about was 10 years ago, maybe, which is a long time. With audience and
you haven't shaved since then.
I haven't shaved since then. No, I guess I just got older the last 10 years. And yeah, what did I want to say? I don't know.
No,
talking about time flying.
Yeah, it's what I really want to get us, and we can totally change the subject, is the faun.
The faun, yeah, exactly.
Because to me, I remember my father had a little porcelain figure of a nök, which was kind of a faun. It's another name for that. I think a nök is a faun with horns.
Okay, didn't know that. Okay.
But it's also half man, half goat, and often seen with the flute. And always seen chasing girls. Yeah.
You're the first one mentioning this. Finally. No, that's not the point. Yeah, I always don't know what to say about the faun, kind of, because there's not a great meaning behind it. The faun comes from a story.
That's very hard to believe. I must admit.
It's hard to believe, but it's true. I'm sorry, but it's true. No, I like the figure of the faun, but I'm really into literature by Arno Schmidt, this German post-war avant-gardist writer. Kind of, and he has this novel, Aus dem Leben eines Fauns. So, a day in the life of a faun. I don't know, something like that. And this guy in a very strong, depressive structure, kind of in his daily life, and he's discovering the second life as a faun, kind of. And that novel just very inspired me very much. And just this feeling of being alone in a society, kind of like being with people, but at the same time being alone. That atmosphere, that forces working there, that inspired me. And then I thought, it also doesn't sound too bad to have like 4 fauns. Why not calling it like that? And even when Claudio's coming back and Almut is still there, what I hope we could call it 5 fauns. So that's the true story.
But I think this idea. I mean, you live in a rather large city.
Yeah.
And these tend to also make people have these feelings of
probably.
Being alone, being by yourself. You may be surrounded by millions, but you're still an individual.
Exactly.
And the more people there are, the less they care for each other, oftentimes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably what happens. Yeah, and it's not a Corona thing. I think it's a general thing. Living in a society and just feeling how this social life works. Kind of. It's a very I think very complicated structure somehow to be really in a social life. I mean, it can be easy, but it can also be very hard. And there's a lot to it, I think. Yeah.
This might not belong here, but this theme. I mean, obviously, this is religious music, and it is music that was born out of a religious context.
Yeah.
And the religious context has sort of shifted over the years, where we, or I can only speak for myself, as a not regular churchgoer, can still enjoy this music for what it is and can get something from this music without having to put my hands together and pray to someone. But it is a sort of, I mean, that's what the original prayer was about.
Yeah.
I believe.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a religious person. I think that probably what you're talking about is this quality in the music, where you can tell that it's music written for a religious feeling, which doesn't mean you're praying. It just means that you're trying to become one with yourself and your environment. So here we have the same topic again, just to calm down, to meditate, kind of. It's meditation music, in my opinion. And you don't have to believe in God or anything. You can believe in anything you want, as long as you are one with yourself, kind of, and get to know yourself. And that's a long journey, obviously. And I think all these composers made these journeys because they wrote so deep music, in my opinion. And scratching the surface is probably easy, but digging deep isn't. So I think these composers, they were digging deep when they wrote this music, and that's why it's up to date. That's why it doesn't matter if it's religious music or not, or world music or jazz or rock, pop, classic. Yeah.
No, I mean, I totally agree. And when you were just saying this, I was tempted to say, but think of the times that it was written in, and we tend to romanticize these times.
That's
of course,
true.
and we think we're living in these fast times where we're having to deal with so many issues, but the issues that these people were dealing with
same
back
issues. Yeah, I mean, also, talking about these composers, Gesualdo was probably a horrible person. There's these his biographic. These stories are horrible. He murdered people. He was probably not a nice person. We romanticizing this period for sure. But at the same time, it's the same. They were dealing with the same topics, the same crime, same desires, same social problems. In fact, you said like we have this problem with everything is going faster. If you read Goethe, for example, he's saying the same. He's saying like all this the wagons with the horses, they're going faster and faster in front of my window. He's writing. I mean that's probably in every time people who are very sensible and sensitive, they're noticing this. Yeah. Probably not everyone is noticing that, but people like musicians and writers, they're noticing that, and that's why they do art probably to kind of get this out. Yeah.
I mean, when you said that Goethe, I mean, even further back, the Chinese writing of the Tao, the I Ching was
totally,
all about you. We have to get centered in this fast-moving world.
Yeah.
And you think, wow, they'd hardly
everywhere.
Invented the wheel.
Totally. I mean, the ancient tribes, they or still I think it's the Aborigines still, when they travel, for example, by foot, they always, doesn't matter how long or short they travel, they always rest 1 to 2 days before they really enter, that the souls have time to follow.
Yeah.
And they're just traveling by foot. Yeah. And we flying with planes, we're driving the car way too fast. And
but our souls have time to follow listening to music, because that's, I mean,
hopefully,
to me, that really is the time of day usually that I get to sit down and do nothing. I mean, there's other music where I can do a lot too. There's also music that helps me clean up my apartment, but it's probably not that.
No, but it would be fine. I mean, if you listen to it while cooking, it's fine. Probably will be a nice dish. Yeah.
What are your next plans? I mean, you've just released this album.
I just released it.
And I was struggling saying it was just released in Germany. Was it released also internationally?
It's released worldwide. I mean, it's digitally released worldwide, but the LP is obviously here in Germany. I mean, we have a physical distribution, NRW Vertrieb, NRW distribution.
Oh, yeah, of course. A regular visitor to Jazzahead, of course.
Exactly, Jürgen Zisch, and you can get the LP on JPC, on Bandcamp, on the dark platforms as well. Not mentioning them. But the next plans are definitely with Almut, for sure. I was always hoping that we get together and have a good reason to do something, and I think Jazzahead was the first meeting, and there's no better reason than having a concert right away. And we, that will continue this journey for sure.
Wow, I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah,
and because what we heard today was really amazing music that, you know, it filled my soul for sure.
That's good.
Whether I wanted to or not.
That's
Which is the beauty of it, without really having to think about it, without having to spend one moment contemplating where it came from, what it was about. It did something to me as a listener, and thank you very much for that, Tilo Weber.
Thank you.